I couldn't have answered yesterday. That will be asked today.
Well, maybe I'll start off with one. You think Bruno has a shot to play at either of the games of this back-to-back?
Yeah, he does have a chance to play one or the other. We're just trying to figure out which one he can be available to play.
Seems like he's been pretty engaged even while he's been out, you know, specifically with talking to Uz and to Alpi. Just what has that been like?
It's been great. He has really good energy when he walks into the door. So the guys listen to him. He's loud. He's always laughing, but serious when he needs to be. And he's someone that has a little bit more experience than some of the other guys and has seen some coverages and has seen some other stuff and is definitely not afraid to let guys know about it. So it's great to have him around.
When you look at on film the defense, what is the biggest thing that stands out? Is it a communication thing? Is it a timing thing for everyone? Is it rotations?
As far as
just like some of the inconsistencies.
Oh yeah, there's so the Golden State game, for example, like they play a different way than everybody else does, and we were switching a bunch, and there was inconsistency as far as do I switch out this time or do I not? And the repetition of going over it over and over and over again is what we need as a group. And that kind of blankets everything, whether it's our pick and roll protection, like we went over that today, and making sure that the guys are in the right spot, they're saying the right thing, everybody's in the right, like applying the right pressure. And the more we do it, the better we're good at it. But I think a lot of what you're talking about is just it's not that we're not trying hard, but we're not really giving the attention to the details yet because we're just trying to get the big picture part of it.
Steve, where are you at health-wise versus where you were at yesterday? You had a number of guys sitting out.
Yeah, Eric was back in full speed. Jalen was limited. Josh was limited. Jay Sean was obviously out. Alpi was out. I believe that's it.
What's the update on Jay Sean and how he's doing?
Jay Sean's doing good. We're still on that same timetable that we were looking at, so it's a few more weeks and then we're going to reevaluate.
The team you opened up with, the Atlanta Hawks, is the team that you opened the season with.
Yeah.
How do you feel your team has changed since that opening game until now?
A lot. I mean, shoot, we had a different starting lineup. We had, a lot we're a very different team now than we were then. So I haven't done it yet, but go back and watch that game and see what the big differences are. But yeah, we're more locked in than we were then as far as where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing and how we can be successful. But at the same time, there's a freshness and newness that we had that opening night of like, this is the start, and we're 0-0 as opposed to where we are now.
Going back to the defense for a moment, who would you identify as kind of the defensive communicators on this team, the guys who kind of get everybody settled in on that side of the floor?
Yeah, for us, it's usually the five men. The fives are back. They see everything. They get us organized when it comes to our pick and roll coverages. Jabari's actually a very good talker as well, whether he's off the ball or defending the action or whatever. It's the giving them the right thing to say all the time. So it's open, it's not through, it's black, it's not switch, and making sure that everybody's on the same page. But we try to make our five men the guys who are the biggest communicators because they most of the times are the one who's going to be in the action.
Do you take Jabari's communication into account when you're kind of figuring out where he's going to match up on the floor so that he can kind of help that five man, maybe if he's in there like with Alpi or something? Yeah,
I mean, he's going to guard who he's going to guard, but if he sees like a certain thing coming, it's up to anybody to give the communication. You think about Golden State where Draymond Green, he's not in all the actions, but he's the one doing a lot of the communicating. And I think that Jabari could get to that point where Jay Sean is in that kind of same boat where he sees things as they're kind of developing and he can call it out and let people know. So yeah, he's going to guard who he's going to guard, but he can also be in a position to help others.
When Bruno does return and then eventually when Jay Sean returns, is that a thing where because everyone else has kind of become settled into doing things a certain way without them, will you try to more gradually reintroduce them, or is it just going to be like you're going to do what you're going to do?
Throw them out there. We're going to throw them out there and let them do their thing because, there's not a lot of time to gradually do much. We got to get everybody on the same page sooner than later.
I'm just saying, can you talk about the efficiency that you see from Kevin Porter Jr. as far as taking his game to a level of scoring from the inside out instead of last year? He took a lot of threes. This year has a more concerted effort on scoring inside the paint.
Yeah, so we're one of the top teams in the league at creating attempts at the rim, and he's one of the main guys, whether he's getting in there and getting to the rim or making plays for others so they can get to the rim. I think we saw the difference between the Indiana game and the Golden State game when he didn't play. Like, we weren't as organized, we weren't able to get to the rim quite as much, we didn't play as fast, we obviously only scored 92, I think, in that game. But his growth and his improvement as far as being a downhill player, like you're talking about, putting pressure on the defense and doing the scoring that he did in the Golden State game or the assisting that he can do in other games is important for our group.
How has the addition of DeJounte Murray helped balance out the Hawks and having to defend them?
Yeah, so he's been, I mean, they were a bear to guard initially, or last year and the year before, but just giving them another option with the basketball and having it, some of it is his attack, but also having Trae Young off the ball as a catch and shoot player or a second side pick and roll player, or they can do just a few more things. So it makes them a more dynamic pick and roll team, and they're right at the top of the league as far as pick and rolls, and they always have been, but now they have two guys who can kind of attack you, whether it's with the initial pick and roll or the second one.
Jabari and Tari had their career highs in points the other night. What do you think it's going to take for them to sustain that type of productivity on the court?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's we talked about the bounce back, right, from the game before to this game, especially for Tari. Like, the game before was probably his worst game of the season, and then he comes back with his best game of the season. And really kind of focusing on the things that made him successful during that time, during the Golden State game, both guys, during the Golden State game, and hammering home yeah, we need you to be in the passing lane. If you can get a steal or get it on the offensive glass, or be in the right spots, the spacing, really hammering home like the positives that came from the Golden State game, and staying away from the Pacer game, then can come some more even play instead of kind of up and down.
Jabari was 5 of 5 inside the line against the Warriors. What were you seeing kind of differently from him offensively in that game compared to some of the other ones this season?
He was attacking the rim. I think he shot the one mid-range pull-up that he made. But besides that, he was like shot faking and driving the ball and getting it and going. And when he caught the ball into the post, there was one play he made. It was a pass to the perimeter, but then he had another one where he was like trying to get to the rim. And the shot selection in those situations is super important. We wanted him to be at the rim as opposed to kind of middling in the mid-range, shooting the fadeaway. So he's becoming more physical. Part of that is the work that he's doing in the weight room, and he's getting stronger and he's feeling stronger. And that will be a work in progress. But yeah, we want him to be dynamic where he's shooting the three, but also very effective at playing in the paint and not just settling for mid-range.
Is that something that you're trying to work with him more on, finding his comfortable spots on the court?
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's been 17 games, and we're learning him, and he's learning us, and it's very important for a guy, as we saw with Jalen last year, to kind of figure out where spots on the floor are and where he can get what are the plays where he's most likely going to get a shot, and where he needs to be to get that shot, and all those things. So, yeah, he's gonna be really good. I'm excited about him.
When you see him like now, when he's the nice guy shooting him, has gone home, what does that say about the kind of things he brings, culture-wise and intangible-wise? Just want to be a better player every day.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He works hard. He's a competitor and kind of changes when the game comes on. He's a little bit meaner than he is on a daily basis, but we need all of that. We need the work that he's putting in now. We need the locker room guy. We need the communicator like we were talking about. We need the defender. We need the nice guy, the glue that can keep things together when things aren't going so good. So to have a rookie be all those things is a pretty good start, regardless of whether he's making or missing shots in the games.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.